There might be some sustained silences in between vignettes, so don't think I'm having like an aneurysm or spacing out. That still could happen, who knows. Never been told. North Coast, the name of my middle school. Here I am, 11 years later, subbing for Mr. Glass. I found a journal in the garage that I started in 6th grade. On the first day of 7th, I was 5 feet tall, 80 pounds. I remember roving the campus during lunches, alone. In 6th grade, I had gaggles of friends. We played kickball, soccer, octopus tag, but here, once school started, people forgot about me. Or the inverse. Maybe since I didn't see them over summer, they thought I had abandoned our friendship. I didn't have their phone numbers, but truth is, even if I did, it's always been weird for me to call people and see if they want to hang out. Maybe it's apathy or social displacement. I've considered autism as a possibility. Mr. Glass teaches honor students. I showed them a video on scientific breakthroughs during the 20th century. The life of Nikola Tesla was briefly chronicled. He was really into circles. It wasn't covered in the film, but Sam told me Tesla castrated himself because his biological imperatives inhibited his ability to conduct experiments. A kid said his designs looked like a flux capacitor. During Tesla's decline, he claimed to have devised a laser to shoot missiles out of the sky. Supposedly, the US government confiscated the blueprints and lost them. My cousin says over half the satellites are facing towards deep space. He showed me a shoddily edited documentary expounding upon the theory. I found an article on a reputable news site that comported. I talked to Mom about it. I bet they're able to shoot meteors out of the sky. They're probably used to communicate with aliens. As a girl, I stay awake at night and think about how big everything is. Eternity makes me uncomfortable now, because it's not you who makes the journey. I've only recently started to think about death. Death is a formality, so is life. It's energy. Mom told me she got married because she didn't want to die alone, and she couldn't live without Dad. Her mom was cremated 4 years ago. She resides in a green box inside a larger wooden chest sitting in front of the fireplace. First, we were dust. The residuals of something. Some say bang. It could have been a fart, a sparked flame in repose near the point of expulsion. Then, matter clustered. Stars were born. They would forge new elements and expand, absorbing all proximal bodies. Some would cool and enter a celestial coma, waiting to be reappropriated. Some would explode. Others imploded, a theoretical hole with no conceivable end, edges with no contours, an hourglass tipped at oblivion's lip. Centers of galaxies are composed of large aggregations of these darkened rings. They rove the prodigious expanse of the cosmos, coalescing with other galaxies. I read that we have to reconsider our conceptions of black holes. Current theories are paradoxical. I figured Hawking's was an alien from the outset, feeding us misinformation. 6th grade. At science camp, my class occupied 4 cabins. Our school, 8. Cabins were segregated by gender. That didn't stop people from sneaking out at night. The counselors, our parents, their quarters were adjacent to ours, so rendezvous were discreet, until the last night at least. The camp had a domed building where constellations were projected on the ceiling. Another wing of the building was dedicated to how we developed from worms to fish-like beings, and then bipedal hominids with opposable thumbs. Beck and I held hands during the tours. We spent the whole week scouring every niche of the facility. "We're going to be scientists," she said. "We're going to have houses in space and live for hundreds of years." At the coast. The movie Mr. Glass left discussed how 3D printing and genomics are at the vanguard of proxy development. Soon, we'll send cyborg avatars into deep space to mine resources and colonize. The interior of a human is a vast nexus, the lady said. Organs are like hardware, and biochemical signals are software. It's all wiring and channeling of electric signals throughout the body's extremities. And the brain is a watchful eye. It coordinates with every constituent to accomplish a singular goal. Scientists think they've seen what's at the bottom, what keeps it all bound, all our parts and the parts that make them, the Higgs boson. But if they truly spotted it, it might mean the universe is unstable, that it's ripping asunder. The video explained the nature of reality as water. Its life flows. Everything is a puddle. Someone dropped a pebble, were riding on a ripple, protracting and intersecting with other ripples caused by other people dropping and skipping pebbles. Eventually, the water's calm. Again. Cafeteria. It was our last night. Becca and I were eating dinner when Eric came over and sat with us. "You guys going to the dance?" he asked. I shook my head no. Becca said she was. "Yeah, we're going," I said. I put my arm around her shoulder. She gave a discouraging shrug. Her dad was watching. She gestured towards him and Mom. The dance hall was the cafeteria, stripped of its dining amenities. The chaperones were getting drunk outside. The wooden floor was well populated. The girls would bend at the waist and extend their arms towards their ankles while their hips drew along the surface of denim donned by the boys who stood behind them. The girls' gyrations shaped semi-concentric circles, squiggly squares, and triangles. Some could spell words, polysyllabic ones. Some could even produce curt and salacious phrases. Becca grabbed my hand and attempted to pull me onto the dance floor. Inertia took hold, or did what it does, to prevent me from acting out of character. She surged through the crowd without me. I left the dance early. I looked for Becca, but couldn't find her. I took a detour at the bathroom. I heard people in a stall. One sounded like Mr. Cord, Becca's dad. "From behind now." "Mom?" Lights on. A student raised their hand and asked, "So, electrons, they're resisting one another?" I wasn't sure if that was the operative technical explanation. "Yep." The student pressed their hands together, so they're not actually touching right now. Another student, reading from their phone, said, every electron is part of a pair. An electron in your body can be paired with an electron on our moon, or on a rock at the other end of the universe. Or dog shit, I said. Silence. Considering it was jettisoned from the mouth of authority, they figured it to be a punitive ploy, a cheese enticement to snare their sheepish sensibilities. The bell rang. We wavered, barely clinging to the tattered conventions of our pre-assigned dynamic. My actions mimic the maelstrom of particles observed when hadrons collide. Am I a quark? A lepton? A gluon? The Higgs? While scientists pore over data, searching for patterns, assigning specifications, charges, spins, I've already been recycled. Energy, carried by the transitory tides of the day, transported elsewhere, anywhere, everywhere. My phone vibrated. Text from Mom. At hospital. Dad had stroke. Come when can. 2 hours past curfew. The door opened. Eric was brought in by Mr. Cord. He laid in his bed alongside mine. He extended an index in my direction. "Becca," he said. Because of them, both our cabins had to pack the buses in the morning. Thank you. Oh, wow.